Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Potluck, your everything and anything talk and entertainment TV show. My name is Laura Hartman, and I am your host. Today we have 4 amazing guests who are part of the Vienna Theatre Company, and from April 17th till May 3rd, they will be putting on a production called Other Desert Cities. So please welcome to the show, I'm going to start on the end with actor Patrick David, who is, I believe, has won or nominated for a Watch Award.
A couple, 2 for acting and 2 for actually for set design.
Great. And then we have Kathleen
Ohlhaber. It's a hard one, I know.
I know. Who is new to the Vienna Theatre Company and is an actress. And then we have 2 familiar faces. We have Jessie Roberts, welcome back, and director Rosemary Hartmann. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Great.
So tell us, or one of you tell us about Other Desert Cities. What is it about? And
well, it's about a family, a dysfunctional family. Mother and father are conservative Republicans who were friends with Nancy and Ronald Reagan. And they have 2 children. They had a 3rd that we think died, but we're not sure. And the family has a deep, dark secret. And as the play unravels, you'll begin to see that everybody in the family has some kind of secret that they're hiding. And so there's a lot of mystery to this play, and a lot of family dynamic, and it's really one of the best scripts I think that I've ever worked with. It was written by John Robin Bates, who is a pretty prolific playwright. He's written other plays, and he's currently writing a television script right now called The Slap, which some people might be familiar with.
Oh.
And but this play has a mother and a father and a son and a daughter, and then they talk about the other son. And then they have a sister. The mother has a sister, Silda, that's played by Jessie, who is a recovering alcoholic.
Oh.
And
The sister. The sister.
You're the sister.
Yes, not me.
Not Jessie.
I'm good.
You're not the
the
alcoholic?
character
Well, I'm
Silda,
playing the recovering alcoholic.
she's playing. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, well, thank you. Thanks for allowing me.
So there's an interesting
glad
dynamic
you
between
went.
the 2 sisters, and sort of a jealousy because Silda has a good relationship with the daughter Brooke and the son Trip, and so there's tension between the 2 sisters.
Okay. Now, who plays the sisters, and or whoever's not here?
Well, Susan Garvey plays the Polly Lyman's wife.
Okay.
And she unfortunately couldn't be here today, but she's here in spirit.
Okay. Great.
And
And the brother.
Jeff McDermott plays the brother, Trip, and he's about 10 years younger than Brooke, and so he wasn't aware of all the things that were going on during the earlier years when a tragedy hits this family. And so as he's grown up, he's been aware of it, but he sort of feels like he's in the middle of everything because he's torn, trying to keep peace in the family. He's kind of the family peacekeeper, not always successfully.
Okay. No, you, the Miss Alcoholic. No. Recovering alcoholic. I'm sorry. So how is compared to other roles that you have done? How do you find your character? Is it challenging, or like, is it a breeze, or
It's very challenging because she's way out there.
Okay.
Yes, she's a recovering alcoholic, but whether she was an alcoholic or is an alcoholic, she's eccentric. She says what she thinks. There's not a lot of the cover that there is that the other characters have. She doesn't choose her words particularly well. She just says whatever she's going to say. So she's a little different than I am. So I'm still finding her. Fortunately, we still have a few weeks before we open. And finding her and inhabiting her, because she is quite different than I am, is a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
So when you, you know, when you read about the character, or you're trying to become that character, do you try to think of like other people that maybe like that, maybe whether they're on TV or maybe that you know somebody in person, and try to test it out?
and actually, absolutely, you do. And there are grains in me of aspects of her that I have to find and bring out that have sat rather dormant, probably for whatever reasons, and bring that out and make that part of the character and pull from people I know who are more like her overtly than I am.
Sure.
So putting together a character almost from whole cloth is quite a challenge. It's quite a challenge.
Okay, great. And Kathy, you're playing, who are you playing again?
Brooke Wyeth.
Okay.
She is the daughter who comes home to talk about this book that is going to be published, and the book is really talking about the secrets. So that kind of causes all of the tension to rise with the family. So she's the catalyst for that, really.
And what is her character like? Is she?
She has some issues as well. Some. Brooke, for me as an actress, is a fantastic character because she's so complex. And those issues are interesting to explore as an actor. She struggles with very serious depression. She is currently on medication and in therapy. She's trying to recover from that, but it's been years of her life has been lived this way. She is suicidal. She struggles a lot, but there's she uses humor to try and mask that. She's very dry, very sarcastic. But there's a lot of anger in her towards her family, especially her parents. And that challenge of when, as an actor, I usually start at an extreme, and then through rehearsals I pull back to find a balance and a medium. So with her, I started in the anger, because that was easiest to just tap into, because everyone kind of has anger at some point. So I could play really, really angry with her, but then you're only one-dimensional. So you have to start pulling back to find a multi-dimensional character, and that's where we're getting her to now, where it's not the anger is just one thread within there. But she's a little bit of a mess.
She's angry.
She's got some issues.
So what other plays have you done?
I just did Rehearsal for Murder, which Jessie was my director for. So we are reunited, which was awesome. I just finished that up over at Reston Community Players. Before that, I had done some work in Maryland, as well as over in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. I went to school at Shepherd, so I did some work over there. So this is rehearsal, and this one are my first kind of two plays in this area,
in this
Northern
area,
Virginia. Yeah.
And how do you like this area? I mean, or how do you like working with the people here?
I've lived in this area for about 4 years now, and the theater I think is high caliber community theater, taking on plays that are challenging and not just your kind of run-of-the-mill typical community theater plays, and that's something I look for, are the really meaty scripts, the ones that might be a little bit out there, but you're willing to put it out there.
So how did you find out about this play, since you're also new to the area? Did you find out through Jessie, or
I keep an eye online for auditions, and once I was able to kind of break into the family through Reston, all my new family members started to talk about other plays that were happening. It's a small community, really, once you get in there, and it is family, so you talk to one another, you know what's going on. And I was preparing for this while I was in rehearsal. I was focused on, I wanted Brooke, and I was starting to try and become her while still dealing with this other character. So I had like 3 people going on in my life at one point. But yeah, I really wanted to get this role, so I was very excited.
I have an interesting question. For all of you, like if you're like in a real life situation, do you ever like wonder what your characters would have done in those scenarios?
Yeah,
absolutely.
To help you out, to like figure out whatever a problem is or whatever you're doing. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always an observer of human behavior, and I like to watch interactions with people, and I sort of tuck it in the back of my mind sometimes to see if I could use it. You know, I think we all do that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you? tell us about your experience and your character in
Lyman,
yes.
the father of this dysfunctional family. I'm not dysfunctional.
Of course not.
They are. No. Very interesting character. I don't usually, I'm not drawn to serious drama. I always do comedy.
Is there any comedy in here? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
There is, absolutely.
Yes,
Okay.
lots. There's lots. But it's such a wonderfully written script. I just could not pass it by, and that's it. Just draws you in. The story itself is so well written. Lyman is the ex-actor from the 50s, 60s who turned politician, ambassador, and now retired, and desperately trying to get his family to enjoy this holiday together. And it just falls apart in front of him. Very, very challenging part, but a very interesting character. Very interesting character.
Okay. So not like you've done before in the past with your acting.
No,
No,
nothing.
okay.
No, nothing even remotely close. This is the most serious
Okay.
role I've ever had.
Right.
Probably the most challenging too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and most enjoyable.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Vienna Theatre Company and about the construction that's going on, so we can give people a heads up
Thank
and
you.
know what to do or what they can expect and where they can look for future plays and where they'll be shown.
Yeah, I'll speak to that since I'm on the board of Vienna and I'm the artistic director for the company. We have just created a relationship, one of anything else to call it, with the auxiliary of the fire department in Vienna. The fire station is sort of diagonally across from the community center. So when the community center goes into construction in June, nothing is going to happen there, even if the area that you're using isn't being touched for 6 months. There'll be so much going on. They said, we just want everybody out.
Right.
So that had quite an impact on the theater company. But we have come to this arrangement. There's a public room at the firehouse called the Flame Room. Yeah, but it's very
How
well.
aptly called.
Yes,
isn't it?
really.
Yeah.
It's sound insulated, but it's really just a great big room. There isn't a stage.
Okay.
There aren't lights. So we're going to keep our season very simple, technically, probably on the lighter side. And the auxiliary is going to do dinner.
Oh.
That was the deal. They wanted to do dinner, and they would keep the proceeds from the dinner part of it.
So it'd be like
And
a dinner
almost
theater?
like a dinner theater.
Oh,
Yeah, we haven't
wow.
really met with them yet, other than to set up,
Yeah.
know that we're going forward with this.
Right.
But we haven't really sat down to work out the nuts and bolts. But yeah, they're going to do dinner, and we're going to do the theater part.
Wow.
We're anticipating 2 full-length plays.
Okay.
And then hopefully in late spring, early summer, we're going to do an evening of 1 acts, which will give some people who've wanted to dip their toe into directing a chance to do that without committing to a full show. And we've done that before, and it was very exciting, really well received, so maybe we can get back to that. And maybe that can actually become a home for the 1 acts.
Oh, right.
Because there's a youth theater that takes over the theater in the summer, so we weren't able to continue doing it, but who knows? Maybe we
Right.
can work something out with that.
So what happens if the fire alarm or their alarm goes off?
We did discuss that. We discussed that.
You have to
I mean, how
project louder.
soundproof is it?
Yeah. At
The
first,
show must go on.
well, a woman that I've
mind
worked
that.
with, who is actually my stage manager for Rehearsal for Murder, her dad used to work at that firehouse.
Okay.
And he said that room is very well sound insulated. And apparently when there's a fire anywhere in the county, there's an intercom system that goes on in all of the fire stations. There is a fire at Nora and company XYZ is responding. Well, they can turn that off upstairs so
Okay.
you don't hear it. And they never turn the sirens on the trucks. They don't turn them on ever until they're about half a block away.
Okay.
So they said, really, the worst sound you're going to hear is the doors, the big doors opening. But even so, we've decided to keep it a little on the lighter side. So there's some moments in this show, if you heard a big garage door opening, you'd go, What?
Right.
So we're going to keep it light, but we will be there. And as soon as we have a real schedule and some plays lined up, we will publicize it.
Okay, great. Well, the dinner theater sounds enticing,
sounds
so
like
that'll
fun.
be great.
Yeah,
That'll be
yeah.
So tell us about your directing background in the area and how long you've been directing.
Oh my gosh. Well, in this area, I've been directing since the early 80s. And before that, I worked some in New Hampshire, as you know, since you lived with me. And that's where I really got started working in theater. It was in Exeter, New Hampshire, where there was a group that I worked very much with. And so when we moved to Washington, I just still had the bug and looked around, and I actually did an internship at the Folger Theater back then, and after that I just started directing among the community theaters. So I've probably directed 40 or so plays.
Since then?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've all been excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, because she's my mother.
I like to think so.
But otherwise, no. I
Yeah.
do think I've loved all your plays.
Yeah, I've worked for Eldon Street Plays. I did get a Watch Award for Three Tall Women there, as you know. And I've worked for the Little Theater of Alexandria and the Port City Playhouse and Arlington Players. I think I've been to most of the Northern Virginia theaters that are reasonable commute,
Right.
So.
Okay, well, back to the play, to other desert cities. Does the play take place in a desert city?
It's in Palm Springs, California.
Okay, okay.
Where Lyman and Polly have retreated to after this incident that happened. And Tripp doesn't live with them, but he lives in the area and he sees them from time to time. But Brooke lives in New York, and so she hasn't been home for 6 years.
Okay.
So
you're the troublemaker.
Yeah.
So there's a reference in the play when you think about the title Desert Cities. Of course, Palm Springs is in the desert, and then there's the reference to Vietnam and also to the Middle East war that's going on. This play takes place in 2004.
Okay.
And so there's the talk about the Iraq War and Afghanistan, and that's the other element of where the word desert comes in.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it kind of makes you think of Desert Storm.
Right.
So
that's all part of the mystery that we can't really reveal. People have to come see the play to know what that big secret is.
Okay.
But
great. So tell us about like the set and costumes and who's helping you with that, and what's involved with that, and do you have to take
well,
the set down after each performance?
we have designers, wonderful designers. I'm trying to think of Skip's last name. I can't. Gresko, Skip Gresko, who also designed For Rumors, which was a wonderful set. And he's very talented, and so we're excited about the set because it's going to be quite spectacular.
Okay.
And so, the designers and I usually get together sometimes a year ahead of time to talk about the concept of the play and see how we want to approach it. So the rehearsals themselves is usually anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, but I and the designers have been working on the show for
longer.
Probably a year, sometimes longer.
Oh wow!
But,
so you know that far in advance that you're going to be directing.
Usually I do. The groups lately, especially, have been very good about planning. Didn't used to be that way. Sometimes it was kind of a last minute get things together. But there's so much competition for especially technical people that you have to line these plays up well in advance so that the crews, the designers and the technical crews can be lined up because there's so much competition for the best people. Right. And everybody wants the best people, of course. Right, yeah. But
So these set designers and costume designers and stuff, I take it when they do the Watch Awards, they're also recognized
They do,
as well? And
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Okay.
much so, yeah.
Okay. So what's been so far the best experience for you for the show? Like what is, whether it be like just getting to work with a great group of people, you're just, you know, what do you see as like your, you know, being the best experience, or what are you getting out of this play?
I'll take a crack at that. For me, personally, I've done all of my previous community theater at another local area, Providence Players. And for me, coming into the Vienna Theater Group is like a kind of special opening to another world of people, and you know, you get so comfortable in the area you are. You know the people, you know the surroundings, you know everything, and then when you try out for a different company, it's that initial, what am I doing here, and who are these people, and
Right.
is this right? And then gradually you're accepted into this group, and you meet wonderful people, and it's it's like you expand your family. For me, it's like you're expanding your theatrical family, which it is. It's a theater is a very
Close-knit.
close-knit group. Yeah, for sure.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think also the fact that everyone is so well cast. Rosemary did such a fantastic job of casting the people in this show. So not only do we work so well together as actors, as friends really, our characters just, we have been so much just easily go into our characters. I don't feel like there's been really a struggle. I mean, we're finding our characters, we're building them. That's the whole point of rehearsals. But from day one, you know, from the read-through of just turned on, we were our characters so easily. That's been really great.
I have to comment on the auditions. The auditions were, when I was there, I was thinking, what am I doing here? These people are so good. The
and there were a lot of
quality, yes, the quality
were tough.
were, oh
They were
my
tough.
goodness, I'm like, these people should be on Broadway. What,
So were you like in a circle where you did like a reading?
We were all in a room together. Some auditions are closed door. You
It's not
wait
one-on-one,
outside. They
right.
bring you in,
Sure.
you know, by groups or individually, so you don't really see what's going on. This was, everyone was in a room together, so you saw what was happening and people being switched out, and you know, it's a challenge. You gotta tough it out because it's hard. It's hard to watch it happen, and you're nervous. And some of the really intense scenes we did multiple times over and over with different people, and it's almost the challenge of, can you make it through that? Because that in itself is so emotionally draining just to get through that. The audition experience for this show itself was none like I've had before, but it was great as an actor. It was really good.
Right. Now, when you're in those like audition rooms and you hear other people that are maybe speaking for a role that you want, do you ever think, well, if I do it this way, maybe it'll sound a little better?
It's hard because you don't want to be influenced by another actor. You want them to be true to what their interpretation of that character is, and you are coming into auditions really with kind of what your interpretation is. So you really, my advice is, you really kind of want to stick to that. You don't want to go, ooh, that sounded good, maybe I should try that, because if that's not what you thought the character is, then that's not what you want to go with. So it's hard to stay on track of, here's how I want to read it, and that can completely change. You get on that floor and you start reading, and it's like, oh, it's not how I read it at home, because right now this seems right for the character, and you just go with it.
Right. And you're working with other actors,
And
and
you
there's
feed
that
off of them.
dynamic between you and the other actor
Absolutely.
can change everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you want it to happen in that moment instead of watching and going, oh, I'm gonna do it like her next.
But I would say I'm a big aper, so I watch diligently what people do, and if there's something that they do, a gesture or something that I think that would enhance, especially in an audition. You do anything in an audition, all bets are off. If you did, I'll copy you. If I think that was a very good reading on a certain line. Absolutely.
Well, and actors do things so differently. We were talking about, you know, do you go see a show if Providence is doing ODC? Do you go see it while you're in it? And some actors want to, they love to, others can't see it. Got it, blinders on, I don't want to see what anyone else is doing. And it depends how do you do auditions, you know?
Yeah.
Every actors are very fickle about traditions and ways of doing things, and all of that is very much a thing for actors.
Right. Oh. So how much time are you putting into all of this every day? And we're about to run out of time, so.
A lot.
A lot, and you're thinking about it all the time.
All the time.
Driving around, and it's not just running lines. It's like, what would she do? Why am I doing this? How would she do this? What can I do different? What can I bring? How can I bring this out better?
Right.
So you're always thinking about it. You know, sitting down and actually, you know, nut and bolt. Let me get these lines. I can only do it for about an hour a day on my own. It's really through rehearsals that it solidifies.
And we rehearse 3 or 4 nights a week, and also on Saturday usually.
Okay. And does that interfere with what, you know, I mean, this has to be a passion for you, because I know growing up, Mom was always at rehearsal until like 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, and then she'd get up and go to work in the morning.
Except for Tech Week.
Right.
Passion is the best way to say it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you have to have the fire for it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Do any of you have any personal websites that you have online?
No.
Okay, and but
The Vienna Theatre Company has a website.
Which is?
Vienna Theatre Company with an R-E in theater, viennatheatrecompany.org.
Okay.
And all the ticket information and times and dates, it's all there.
And can people go online and get a ticket right now?
No.
Okay.
You can go online, make a reservation, but you would pick it up at the theater.
Okay.
Or you can come by the community center and buy the tickets
And are the seats reserved, or you just sit
open
where
seating.
Open
Open
seating.
seating. Okay, great.
And the dates?
Again, are April 17th through May 3rd.
Yep.
Right.
All right.
2 matinees, one on the 26th of April and one on May 3rd.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
And if you're just tuning in, make sure to catch us on the web at www.potluck-online.org. And we'll see you next time.